Lyle Foster thinks he scored a goal in the 59th minute of this game at Old Trafford, an important junction in the match. Flag goes up for offside, very, very tight. Now, we've got a picture which we're putting up on our YouTube channel, which sort of shows where the offside infraction is. It's hard to decipher, and actually we've got a little red line showing the area on the arm where it's supposed to be offside. The broadcast at the time didn't have those red lines. We do. It shows the fine margins, doesn't it? But just explain where this demarcation point is, because everyone talks about the T-shirt line, Chris, but that's a stupid name, isn't it? Because actually that's getting us in more trouble because it's not a T-shirt.
Yeah, it's not a T-shirt. But what I would say in relation to this decision, first up, Sam, was this was an absolutely outstanding decision by assistant referee Ian Hussin to identify this as an offside offence, and he didn't really get the credit he deserved because of the noise that was round it, which was unfortunate. But in relation to the law, when we determine offside, we've got to look at the upper boundary of the arm, which is in line with the bottom of the armpit. So we've looked at the graphic, as you say. We were privy to the graphic with the marks on it. It's a factual offside. This it was given very, very tight, but factually offside. So we can't have too many complaints when the assistant referee gets it right, and the semi-automated confirms that.
Okay, so the assistant's got it right. I mean, amazing if he has seen that, or he's sort of seen something that makes him think that that's offside. But the semi-automated offside has backed him up. Now, how does that work? I mean, how accurate is that? I mean, we don't know. I don't know the intricacies of how it works. But do we have to trust that technology that it's 100%? Because I remember when we were doing the cross-haired lines and all that kind of stuff, everyone was saying, oh, there's a little bit of margin for error here. Are we a lot more comfortable with the semi-automated offside technology that is pinpoint accurate?
Well, what they would say is that they get 100% of offside decisions correct. What semi-automated does, it speeds up the process because of there's more cameras, and that's what the game wants, and that's what the game expects. So we trust the process, we trust the procedure, and I don't have any difficulty with it at all. I think it's worked really well this season. Bearing in mind, it only came in at the back end of last season because it was trialled and tested for a prolonged period of time. We now know it's working. I think this is the correct decision. It's difficult, really, to criticise when something's right.
Agreed. The only thing I would say is I think the way that they visualise it afterwards, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to see. So this graphic sort of, I think, highlights it perfectly. The shaded area is so small that you really have to be peering towards the TV screen in order to be able to see it. In fact, we had to get a different graphic where it's marked up slightly so we can see the area which Lyle Foster has been judged to have been offside because of. So I think maybe visualising it, they need to be a little bit different in the way that they do that, but that's something to work on, I think. But obviously, like you say, if it's getting every decision right, then you can't complain too much about it. Let's move on to the next decision, which is at the same game.
And we've got another VAR check on maybe a penalty. It's Ahmad who has a lovely little give and go on the edge of Burnley's 18-yard area. There is a pull on his shirt. It's whether he's inside of the area again or outside of the area. Sam Barrett is having a look at the monitor in front of us now. This is an absolutely huge call. And I think he's been given the penalty. Bruno Fernandes puts the ball in the back of net. Manchester United 3, Burnley 2.
We're in the second minute of added time at the end of a tense match at Old Trafford, and Ahmad gets a penalty after going to ground. He had his shirt pulled. It started outside the penalty area and goes inside the penalty area. Now, Sam Barrett initially ignores the claim, but the VAR takes a look. Is this sustained and impactful? Is this the level of holding and grabbing of a T-shirt that is always going to generate a penalty in the modern era?
I think it would be a foul anywhere on the field, Sam. I think the disappointing thing for me was I think the referee, Sam Barrett, should have seen this on the field. Quite clearly, he was having his shirt pulled by Anthony, and that started outside the penalty area. and it continued inside the penalty area. And the law's quite specific, a holding offence. If it starts outside the area and continues inside, it's a foul, and a direct free kick, and a direct free kick in the penalty area is a penalty. And fair play to Stuart Atwell, the VAR. He identified that and sent the referee to the screen. He had a look at it. And it's a really good intervention by the VAR. But as I said, I think the referee should see that on field.
Scott Parker's not happy, though. It led to him claiming VAR decisions are threatening to ruin football and put it into the most sterile game there is. This is what he said.
The game's become the most sterile, theatrical game there is. And we see that today, really. You can't celebrate anymore. I think you're probably a year away from no one ever celebrating a goal. You have to go through every single check from 2, 3, 4 phases before it. You have to check if it's offside, if it's onside. The human nature of the game in terms of referees and linesmen. Games will be reffed by robots soon. Also, there ain't no point. And obviously the decision today, while I understand he's got his shirt, on-field decision was no penalty. So at that moment, obviously, VAR has stepped in and deem it as a clear and obvious penalty.
This is not the first time we've heard this phrase this week. We re-refereed it. Now, we don't want to do that. That's the sort of common phrase that we hear from Howard Webb. We don't want to re-referee football matches. Are we in danger in this instance of doing that?
Not at all, no. We're not re-refereeing this. This was a clear and obvious error. This was a clear foul, a clear shirt pull. And if you were talking to young, up-and-coming referees, you would show this is a really clear example of a shirt pull that was outside the area that went inside. It's not re-refereeing. It's a really good intervention by Stuart Atwell, the VAR, and quite rightly punished.
Okay. Meanwhile, earlier in the same game, Manchester United had a penalty cancelled after Carl Walker's challenge on Mason Mount. No need to spend too much time on this one because I think we're happy with it, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Penalty given on field. If you look at it from high behind on the camera, you'll quite clearly see that it's Mason Mount, isn't it, who's got Carl Walker in an arm lock, and he's got a lump of his shirt as well, and he pulls him to the ground, and quite rightly the decision was overturned. So we've got no problems with that one, Sam.